All right, good day, all. This is Charles with the Exodus Logistics Learning Center, America's #1 dispatcher and freight broker training. Today is Friday, the 24th of October, 2025. This is our fourth week of our freight broker training in our ongoing training. If we look at our training schedule here on the calendar, fourth week. Um, so This is the last training of Zoom training and the ongoing training in October. We'll have November's up momentarily. But yes, this is our fourth week of Zoom training. I'm going to go over some small things tonight, but just wanted to show you guys that. And so for those of you who are in here who are new, and again, we got people coming in pretty soon, I'm going to cover in detail, or at least get started in detail with the broker shipper agreement to break it down. I'm going to change it. I'm gonna do it in real time and edit it in real time, and it'll be the new and improved one because the one we have in our portal here is a little bit dated, if you will. So we're gonna improve that a little bit better and give you guys more accurate information. But for those of you who are new, when you become a freight broker, so let's break it down because I have a new person here right now, Stephanie. Um, when you become a freight broker, when you start your company, your business, you come up with a name for your business, LLC, EIN, however you structure it. The next thing you need to do is to apply for your broker license or what's called a broker authority, right? To do that, you go to the FMCSA because the governing body of for brokering, freight forwarding, trucking, motor carrier, things like that is the FMCSA. So for those of you who may not know that, let's go to Google here and just type in FMCSA. FMCSA is an acronym. It stands for Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Okay. And it is under the auspices of DOT, Department of Transportation. Okay. So we go there, and the website we go to is the fmcsa.dot.gov, which is right here. And I will put that in the chat, but that's the website right there. I'll copy it and paste it. You would probably need to familiarize yourself with this website from time to time and probably save it as a footnote or a bookmark in your browser as you're looking at your computer, a quick reference kind of thing. Okay. Um, but anyway, when you apply for your broker authority or your broker license, you will go under registration. Okay. And then you would click apply for a new US DOT and or authority. Okay. If you are here for the first time, you will be, and most of you will be when you do apply for your broker license or broker authority, you will need to create what's called a login.gov login or an account to before you start with the application to become a freight broker. The application to become a freight broker is called the OP-1 form. What does that look like? That looks like this here. I will bring it up, the OP-1 form. This is the PDF version of the OP-1 form that's online. Okay. Hey, Mr. Ellis, how you doing? Just wave, just wave. Okay. Um, so this is the OP-1 form that's in PDF version that you're going to be filling out online when you apply for your broker authority. Now I'm speaking like this because we have a brand new person. Stephanie, have you begun the process of your applying for your broker authority?
No, not yet, but but I'm kind of familiar with it. So I'm going through the modules and everything. So, but no, you're fine. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Okay. So this is in our module. This is in our course in the back office portal. So it's a 16-page PDF. I would suggest people read it. It's only 16 pages because it'll familiarize you with the process and what is what and what's defined as what. Here are the particular steps for applying for the broker authority. In which we're at step one, which is the OP1 form. Once you apply for that, that is an application. It is a $300 non-refundable um, process. $300, assuming that if you only check one box in step two of step two is the type of authority you're applying for. So the different types of authorities you can apply for are broker authorities and motor carrier authorities. So if you check more than one, then it'll be whatever number that is times 300. So if you check two boxes, then that becomes 600. Most cases, people just check the one because they only want to apply for one authority at a time, and they may just not budget, right? So step two, the applicants receive the MC or the FF. FF stands for freight forwarder. If you're trying to be a freight forwarder, we're more of the broker. So motor carriers and brokers receive MC and DOT numbers. Freight forwarders receive FF and DOT numbers, right? So this is it's a temporary number. Well, it's going to be your number. It's not active yet until you do the rest of the steps. But you receive the number, your number that's going to be yours in the future. But again, it won't become active and you won't become legal until you finish the rest of the requirements to be a broker. Okay. So the next thing you would need, step three, is a 10-day protest. So when you apply to be a broker, your information is entered into the FMCSA register, a database that a database of public information letting others know that you have applied for it, right? So someone may want to protest that for whatever reason. It's just there. I don't understand the logic in that, but it's been that way for years. Someone may say, "Yeah, you're not qualified to be a broker." Well, who are you to say that, right? But the FMCSA, if they see a protestation, they will investigate it and go from there, right? But that's a 10-day process, right? But most times it's not. Most people don't protest other people becoming brokers, but it's there for a reason. Step four, the insurance company files the forms with the FMCSA. For brokers, the reason why it says insurance because there are motor carriers too who are applying through the OP1 form to have an authority. So they require insurance. But for the broker, your insurance type is called a bond, right? So you can apply for a surety bond or a trust fund. And the bond companies, depending on the type of bond you applied for, whether it was a surety bond or a trust fund, the surety bond form that gets filed by the bond company, not you, but the bond company files to the FMCSA form BMC 84. That's the surety bond form, letting the FMCSA know, hey, this client has met the requirement for the bond. If it's a trust fund, it's form BMC 85. And the same thing, they'll let the FMCSA know, hey, this client has met the requirements for a trust fund type of bond. The bond requirement is $75,000. It's paid annually, a one-time premium payment. If it's the surety bond, it's based more on credit. So the better your credit score, the lower your premium is for that one-time annual cost. Stephanie, stop me anytime if you have any questions. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So that's a step that needs to be met and satisfied by the FMCSA. Step five, you also need to apply the applicant or the process agent files the form BOC3 with the FMCSA. That's another requirement to be a licensed broker. You have to have what's called an agent of process. What does that mean? If someone files a claim against your bond as a broker, your agent of process, either yourself or the agent themselves, has to, be available to have paperwork served to them saying, hey, you've been served, someone has filed a claim against you, so on and so forth for legal adjudication, right? It's a requirement. So the process agent form is called the BOC-3. BOC stands for blanket of coverage or blanket of companies. Either you could take your pick. Um, that's another requirement. Another requirement is in here that's not on here, but it's called the UCR, the Uniform or Unified Carrier Registration. Some brokers have what's called assets or trucks and trailers. You may have been a trucking company and you decided you want to become a broker. So you say, okay, well, I'll just list my trucks as assets for my brokerage on the UCR. Okay, but it's a requirement. If you don't have assets, you're just a regular 3PL or third party logistics without trucks. You get your trucks from onboarding carriers, owner operators to your brokerage. That's fine too. You'll just put 0 to 4 to imply that you don't have any trucks or you have very little. So that's a requirement as well. So once all of those requirements are met, not very many, then step 6, um, the applicant begins operation after receiving. So it says here after receiving certificate, permit, or license for authority from the FMCSA. So let me distinguish what's the difference. The certificate applies to motor carriers. The permit applies to freight forwarders, and brokers get what's called a license. But all three are a form of an operating authority. Okay. So if you look on someone's FMCSA authority sheet and it says certificate, you know that they are a motor carrier. If it says permit, you know that they are a freight forwarder. And yours, if you are a broker, is going to say license. Okay, so that's the difference. Again, there are all types of authorities, but the different names distinguish which are which. Okay, you follow me, Stephanie?
I am.
Any questions so far?
Not right now. I appreciate it because like I said, I read some of the stuff as well. I think, well, let me just ask, the only thing I had a question about was in step 5 where you talk about the processing agent. Now, that process agent, is that someone that you actually have to hire, or can that be, yourself? What would the actual process agent, who would that be?
You can be your own process agent, but
Okay.
most process agent companies have representatives throughout all 50 states. So you would hire the company to represent your brokerage. So when
Okay.
you have an issue, and let's say you got a shipper in a particular, what state are you from?
I'm in Florida.
So let's say you got a shipper in Georgia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you brokered a load from that shipping location in Georgia. Your carrier, the lane for that load was going from Georgia to let's say Atlanta, Georgia to Columbus, Ohio for a drive-in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you approved an owner operator to move that freight, a truckload of goods, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they got loaded at the facility in Georgia and they transported the freight up to Columbus, Ohio. Well, when they got there and the doors were open, the consignee or the receiver saw that the pallets were moved, damaged freight, things like that. So they rejected the freight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would have done the same thing, right? If I'm expecting my product to be delivered to me, I'm expected it to be delivered in the same condition that it was when it left Atlanta,
Right.
right? So I'm gonna say, well, I'm gonna reject this, and I'm gonna file a claim. So when a claim is filed, there's two people at fault. It's either the broker or the carrier, right? The broker who brokered the load that didn't give the right instructions to the carrier, or the carrier who took the load and didn't follow the instructions of the broker,
Okay.
right? So let's say it turned out it was the broker's fault. So now they're going to file a claim against your bond, right? So
Okay.
here's the process. So they have your broker authority number because you guys made a deal when you booked that load and everything. They got your information. The shipper does with the broker shipper agreement. So they got your MC number. They're going to look you up. They're going to see who your bond company is. They're going
Mm-hmm.
to contact your bond company, let them know that we're going to file a claim against uh this brokerage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they'll say, okay, well, then the bond company is going to get in contact with the local process agent at the location where the load originated, which is Atlanta. And then that process agent is going to contact a process agent representative in the location where the issue occurred, which is Columbus,
Ohio.
Ohio, right?
Okay.
So they're going to talk. They're going to say, okay, yeah, this is the fault of the broker. So the process, because your brokerage is based in Atlanta, the process agent in Columbus is going to send documentation through via fax, email, however, digitally to the process agent in Atlanta, and then you're going to get served in person or via email from the one in Atlanta. It's usually where your company, your domicile residence is based for your brokerage that you get served by the process agent in that location.
Okay.
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 And they're going to say, hey, you've been served. Someone's filed a claim for damaged freight. Now, it doesn't take you, it's not usually that long of a process. Sometimes it gets resolved quicker, but that is the bottom level steps process of it. But
Okay.
most times it never happens that way because they just get on the phone, they say, let's resolve this quicker than having to go through all this nonsense, right? So, but that's the
Okay.
process of a process. That's the process of how an agent of process handles a claim that's the fault of the broker.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Thank
So,
you.
and then if whatever the value, the damage of the freight, because you got $75,000 as a bond, so
Hmm.
whatever that cost is, you cover that, right? So, and any additional insurances too. So, but that's how it works. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
But yeah, so do you have a company created?
Actually, I do. Because I actually started out a few years back trying to do dispatching and stuff. So, but we'll talk about it. But yeah,
Ah,
yeah. Uh-huh.
okay. Okay. So when you do apply for your broker authority, you want to apply for the one that says broker of property except household goods. And right here on page 8, it defines there's only two types of broker categories. There's four carrier categories: carrier of property except household goods, common carrier, contract carrier, passenger carrier, and household goods carrier. With the broker, there's only two. There's broker of property except household goods, which is, you see me highlighting that?
Yeah, I do.
That's the one you're going to apply for. The second one is broker of household goods. So the definition of the broker of property of how of except household goods as an individual, you, partnership, or corporation. So you either structure your company as an individual company, corporation, or probably LLC, and
Hmm.
partnership that receives payment. You're getting paid for arranging the transportation of property except household goods. What are household goods? Furniture, things in that's household goods. Things are in the house, a
Hmm.
couch, refrigerator, whatever, right? In the house. But these are except household goods. So we're dealing with general freight. We're not dealing with household goods. Okay.
Okay.
So an individual, partnership, or corporation that receives payment for arranging the transportation of property except house or excluding household goods belonging to others, which are the shippers and the receivers, by using an authorized motor carrier. And that's what a broker does. You get an authorized motor carrier if you have one in your own pocket. If you're an asset-based broker, you use your own carriers. Otherwise, you just onboard or approve owner operators and set them up under your brokerage. But they have to be authorized motor carriers. That's part of the vetting process to make sure that the carriers are authorized. They have an authority. That's where the word comes from, authorized authority, right?
Hmm.
So to transport freight for your customer. And again, that's how you receive your payment. So a broker does not assume responsibility for the property and never takes possession of it. Who does?
The
Question.
carrier.
Thank you. The carrier, because they're the ones who's once they accept that load and pick it up and sign that BOL from the shipper transposing that load to the carrier, they have assumed responsibility while it's under their trailer until they get to the receiver to deliver it. Then the receiver absolves them, right, or indemnify them from responsibility once they receive the freight and sign the BOL on the receiver end. Okay, and that now it's a basically so while it's in transit, the carrier owns it. They're running it under that's the whole purpose of a carrier needing insurance and needing authority and all these other requirements. Because during their brief stint of transporting the freight, they own it. It's theirs, right? So
Hmm.
until it's released from them. So the shipper gave it to them, they own it during transit. When they get it to the receiver, they release ownership and they give it to the receiver, right? So like having a foster kid, right? So you just transport. So, but yeah, so that's the type of broker authority. So when you're on the application and you are applying, make sure you select broker of property except household goods.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
The only other one is household goods. You don't want to deal with that carries extra insurance. It's like an extra $5 million aggregate on top of the regular insurance requirements. And then there's other liability claims. You damage stuff in a house, you drop something, you break a wall, you damage your workers damage themselves. So there's tremendous upside for claims difference between a household goods broker and a broker of property except household goods. So,
Okay.
okay. So we good? Mr. Ellis, you
Yeah,
good? So
yeah, I've done all that already.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So Mr. Ellis is a broker. Mr. Ellis has brokered freight. Mr. Ellis has moved freight. So he has a team that he's working with, and they are gaining more and more experience. Do you have an experience that you want to share with us that you
Yeah, actually, I mean, for what's her name? I'm sorry,
Stephanie.
Stephanie. I'm sorry about
Yeah.
that. Nice to meet you. Nice to
Nice
meet
to
you.
meet you too.
Um, how do I put this? I mean, a lot you're gonna learn along the way. You can't get it all in one or two sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some things are gonna come up that you gonna need that you probably didn't hear about yet, or may not have necessarily been covered in class, or you may not have heard, or a question you may come across somewhere down the line as you're doing your research,
Mm-hmm.
and you haven't quite came across that issue yet. So just kind of be prepared for things like that. What I'm saying is, because there's, the overhead that's a part of running a brokerage. Sometimes, some unexpected costs, that you got to have in place, in order to operate. Is what I'm saying. So, you know, just keep in mind and be prepared for stuff like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So cash reserves sometimes is a good thing. Cash reserves and definitely the knowledge. So you're in the right place. You're in a well, I won't say right, but you're in a good place because I have years of experience. We have students in here now who are doing it, so they're gaining the experience. So my level of experience is different from their level of experience because things were different back then when I was doing it as they are today.
Mm-hmm.
AI technology that has been implemented into transportation now. We have autonomous trucking, driverless trucks, all these other different technologies that have been adapted into the industry. So, but the
Wait, they,
concept
they actually have that now? I haven't.
they have autonomous there. It's not as it's so it's still in its sandbox stage and
Uh,
testing phase. There have been a few driverless trucks on major interstates like the I-95s and things like that, the straightways. But when it gets into the cities and turn down one-way streets and like that, you don't want to have fatalities because these are big trucks. So they may have to drive them from interstate to interstate into major hubs on the interstate, and then a driver will have to take that truck to the last mile destination in the city to get around traffic and things like that. I think
right,
that's just probably far as it's going to go. I can't see a driverless truck driving down one-way streets in New York City.
right. I was just right because
That's
it's kind of segueing into another question that I had, but go ahead. I'll
oh,
let
go
you
ahead.
finish. Well, no, because okay, so I was talking to a potential customer and to see what his actual freight needs are and what he's been doing. He's been shipping a lot of stuff because he ships. He's an Allied Wheels company, so he ships a lot of rims and tires and stuff like that. And he's been doing it rail because it's cheaper. But he only gave me the cost of rail. He didn't include, or maybe it's just because it was in the moment of the conversation. And after the fact, I kind of pointed it out to Doug, like, there's three costs here, but he only mentioned one because, again, if you're shipping it rail, ain't no train pulling up to your business and you loading it onto the train, and then wherever it's going, it's pulling up to that business and it's being offloaded there. So somebody has to pick it up
Right,
from your warehouse, take it to the rail station.
right.
It gets onboarded there. It
That
gets
is a
delivered.
drayage. That's a drayage carrier. They would dray it. They will do what's called drayage. A carrier will pick up the trailer from the exporting destination, a warehouse, dray it or drive it to the rail station or rail terminal to be loaded, and then the rail yard will transport it via rail to a rail yard at the destination location, and then a drayman will pick it up from the destination rail yard and take it to the destination last mile delivery, a warehouse or a retail store. So, yeah, that's just another mode of transportation, intermodal plus with the rail component. We have intermodal with the trucking component, and then we have intermodal with the ocean liner component and the air, just a different mode of transportation. But yes, you're right. There is no rail car that's going to pull up to your warehouse and load it. So he's missing, right, that component. So,
And my question, because again, I have to go back and I'm gonna be dealing with them again next week just to kind of bring that up again. That how do you? Because he's looking for a quote, and I can't quote him without that cost included because I didn't even realize that was dredge. I thought dredge was just mainly at the port,
no, so
not.
dredge, the end point or the beginning point, depending on if you're exporting and importing are at the ports. The drayman a drayman is someone with a power only truck who picks up a container,
Mm-hmm.
either picks it up or drops it off from the destination export location or the import location, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I got a power only tractor. I'm a drayman. I do drayage or what's called intermodal. That is an intermodal process. The person who drives the truck is the drayman, and the process is called drayage, right? So
Right.
it's just words, right? But I'm just breaking it down so you can understand what it means,
Right.
right?
Because in this case, because like again, according to what his needs are or what he ships, a lot of it's LTL, and so that's more given that it's more box truck.
So
If it's
you so
LTL,
so
other than
the shipper that wants is this a shipper that wants you to give him a quote, right?
yes,
You got to ask him, okay, what mode of transport? How are you getting are you using the rail to transport your goods to
yes, he is.
okay, he is. So he's using the rail component. So you would have to get with the rail people that where he's at to ship it from his, and you have to get with the drayman to say how much will you charge dray carrier or dredge carrier in that location. So find local dredge carriers or not box truck, but power only carriers who will be willing to transport a trailer, a container to the rail yard from that shipper's location. How much would they charge for it? Get that number, and then get the number of the cost of transporting it via rail from their terminal outbound to the terminal or where it's supposed to be delivered at the destination terminal. So you have to get those numbers, and then you got to get the number of the drayman on the other side, the receiving side. How much are they going to
Right.
charge you to pick it up from the endpoint
Yeah.
rail yard and then dray it or drive it to the last mile destination? So those are the numbers you're going to need.
Right. So again, because what is basically in the or according to the needs, and what he uses aside from the main mode is box trucks. So
Okay.
I'm assuming based on that, and again, like based
So
upon what I've read,
it's LTL, you're saying. So he's using box
it's
truck?
LTL. Yeah, it's LTL. So yeah, I'm saying so he's got probably have a box truck coming to his place of business. They're loading up the box truck, and the box truck is taking it to the rail.
Okay, so
And then
that's a different component then. So he doesn't have a a container trailer at his facility being preloaded.
it did from what I gathered, no, but I'm gonna double check with them just to be on the safe side. I'm gonna get all as much information that I can because I said again, I can't give him a quote necessarily. I mean, because
Well,
you can give me
that's gonna be kind of weird because it's rare that box trucks pick up freight from a facility and then take it to a rail yard to be loaded or transloaded to a
right.
container.
Well, I mean, and that's right. I mean, again, that was my only question because again, because he ships everywhere. But he said a majority of what at least one of the examples that he gave was rail. I'm not sure if he's doing it because just because of the cost. He said it's cheaper.
So
You know,
if he has multiple shipments going in one direction, then he can get a container trailer to his facility and put multiple LTLs
hmm
consolidate on
right on
consolidate
one trailer.
one trailer, container trailer, and then have that drayed by a power only person with the chassis to the rail yard. So he save on
Mhm.
costs as opposed to a box truck. So you would have to get more questions answered by that guy. If you want,
Yeah,
be on the phone with him so we can kind of see
yeah, yeah. We can
how
do
his
that.
how his process wants to be. We want to make sure he's located. I'm assuming he's out there where you are in the Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
you think? Yeah, Garden Grove. Yeah.
Okay.
He right up. He's like 22 miles south of where I'm at. He
So
in
we have
Orange County.
so we have to ask him what's the commodity weight, what's the frequency of how often does he transport, how much does
Mhm.
he need, all those questions. We'll ask those questions and see where he's going.
Mhm. Well, I got some of those questions answered because, like right now, just the time of the year, October, everything slows down. It picks back up in February. So I got some of that already pretty much answered. But again, it don't hurt to just, keep hitting them with it, of course, because I told him, like, right now is the best time for me to actually, even try to work something out with you because you're not as busy and I
Right,
get a little bit more undivided attention so we
right.
can focus on, trying to figure out, what's going to work best for you.
And you gain the experience. So Stephanie, it's a good thing you're hearing this because
Yeah.
when you talk to shippers, one of the things you're going to need is, okay, well, you have a need, Mr. or Miss Shipper, to have your products, your finished goods transported to your customer who's the receiver. They purchased it. They put a purchase order in for your goods. Now you said, okay, I can provide that service. Let me find a broker. I don't deal directly with trucking companies, so let me get a broker to do it. So they'll call you and they'll say, okay, I have a customer, I have a shipment that needs to go to my customer. So your question will be, well, how is it? How do you want it transported? Is it going to be on a truck? Is it going to be drayed to a port for ocean liner on the vessel, or is it going to be railed? Right.
Hmm.
So we mainly in this course we want to keep you more on the truckload side. Mr. Ellis is kind of venturing off, but that's cool because you're gaining
Well,
knowledge.
that just happened to happen that way. That was just
Right.
that just I happened to come across that.
Yeah.
But so the trucking side is the easiest entry point to do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, as you learn the process and the steps and the concepts of it, you can
Hmm.
transition to a different mode later, whether it's ocean liner through drayage or the rail line through drayage, right? You're going to
Hmm.
dray. I keep saying drayage. All it is a power only carrier coming in with a container, an empty container and a chassis, docking it at the shipping location. They'll preload that trailer and then he or she will transport that to a terminal, either a
Hmm.
rail terminal or an ocean terminal at the ports to be transported either ocean line or railed to its last mile destination port. Once it
Okay.
gets to its last mile destination port, because they got to go from port to port. You can't put an ocean vessel in front of a department store, right? You can't put
Right.
a plane in front of a department
Right.
store. It has
Right.
to go,
Yeah.
it has to go to the destination. It has to go from the origin port to the destination port, and then from that end, the other end, another dredge carrier picks it up and delivers it to its last mile destination, either from the rail yard or from the port, the ocean port, right? Or even air. You can do air cargo from the different terminals.
Hmm.
That's why it says airport, right? It's a port.
Right.
It's also a port too, airport, right? Most cases, the cargo are humans because we fly planes all the time, but sometimes you have air cargo. You've heard those terms before, air cargo.
Right.
So when you talk to a shipper, you would have to ask them, what is your mode of transportation? How do you want your uh, finished goods shipped to your customer? And they'll tell you, well, we do truckloads. Okay, you do full truckloads or do you do less than truckloads or partials? And they'll tell you less than truckloads. So you're going to learn this as you progress through here. So once you find that information out, then you'll know which route to take and then go from there. So generally, we want to start you guys off, the new students, with the trucking side. So
Hmm.
a tractor trailer will come to a shipping facility, dock at one of their loading docks, and then they will be loaded by the shipping manager at the facility of those with the pallets, whether it's a truck. Let's say it's a truckload. So that's like 26 pallets on a 53-foot drive-in trailer. They will be loaded, and then that process will be that driver will ship it, and it'll be one of your drivers that you have onboarded as a broker. You sent your driver that you have approved, your authorized carrier that you have
Hmm.
approved to that shipping facility because you got into a contract with that shipper to ship their finished goods to their customer, which is the receiver or the consignee. Okay.
Hmm.
So that driver will follow the directions that you give them as the broker because you receive those directions from your customer, the shipper. Hey, I need a 53-foot drive-in trailer. I need it to be loaded with full truckload and shipped from my shipping facility in Atlanta, Georgia, up to Columbus, Ohio. And then what is your rates for that lane? So they want you to give them a quote. So you would go into the low board or some spot market software to
Mm-hmm.
determine the rate of that lane, and you put your markup on it. That's how you make your money. You charge your margin, and I usually tell or advise beginning brokers to charge anywhere between 15 to 20%. So if the let's use 20% as an example. If the shipper says, I'm going to tender you or give you this freight, and I'm going to tender it or pay it to you $3,000. So I'm going to give you $3,000 to transport this truckload uh, shipment from my facility to my customer's facility using an authorized motor carrier. I'm going to give you $3,000 to do that, and you agree to that. And the lane pays, let's say, 2,200. You got $3,000 in your pocket by the shipper.
Mm-hmm.
You charge 20%. So 20% of $3,000 is $600, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So after you deduct your potential profit, 600, you got 2,400 left
Right.
to play with for the carrier. The
Mm-hmm.
lane, the average spot market rate for the lane was 2,200. Well, you got 24 to play with.
Okay.
You found a carrier to move it for 2,250. So of the 2,400, you pay the carrier 2,250. So you got an extra 150 left.
Right.
You already got your 600 in your pocket. Now you made an additional 150 off of that too, negotiating the lane. So that's how it works in brokering, right? On the
Right.
trucking side. Now on the rail and especially the ocean side, there are a lot of um, extra things you have to deal with, especially if it's international. Then you have to deal with the CBP, the Customs Border Protection, and you have to deal with customs brokers. You have to deal with exams and VACs and all these other things. You have to deal with Incoterms. You have to deal with customs invoicing, packing lists. There's a whole bunch of things when you're crossing borders doing international shipments. So I try to get you guys to stick with domestic until you master domestic. I
Mm-hmm.
would not even venture into international because
Okay.
that's a whole different world. Trust me, I have done it. So I'm just letting you know. It's a whole different world. Master the basics first, right? So and the trucking side will you could make a you could be it could be very lucrative on the trucking side. You get that one shipper that ships out truckloads, 10, 20 truckloads a week. You got to find 10, 20 carriers to onboard to your brokerage if you're not asset based. And those lanes are paying $3,000 per lane. That's 10, that's $30,000. You got 20% of that. That's 6,000 a week for you,
Mm-hmm.
give or take, whether you negotiate a little bit more, a little bit less. But $6,000, I think I can live off $6,000 a week.
I think so too.
You know, so and you got 10 carriers that's moving that, 10 or 20 carriers moving that, they're making their money. Everybody's eating off of the rate that your skill set, the rate of the shipper that
Mm-hmm.
you negotiated with, and you did that. I got a book right now that I'm reading. Let me bring my camera on. It's called Pitch Anything, dealing with sales, right? Negotiating.
Okay. Who's
So
the author?
Oren Claff. He's a $240 million salesman. He does like large private equity sales and things like that. So pitch everything or pitch anything,
Okay.
right? So I got another book. So it's also sales is a we do sales every day. We sell ourselves. You go to the grocery store. You don't even realize it or not, right? Everything is sales, right? Or negotiating, whether you negotiating a price of something you're trying to buy at a store or whatever. It's either sales or negotiations. Whether we realize it or not, it's sales or negotiation. I'm negotiating right now. Once I get off this call, what me and my wife are going to eat for dinner. So so it's just it's perception and interpretation of things. That's what it is, right? It's perception and interpretation. So if you go into negotiating with a shipper with that perspective or that mindset, you will be successful. You just have to learn what that is,
Mm-hmm.
what the methods are. And that's my job as an instructor to help you with that.
Okay.
Okay, so any questions?
No, not at the moment, because like I said, I'm really just kind of getting started with your
My,
program, yeah, and I love it. I actually saw you on YouTube, so I actually listened to your whole hour and something, one of the videos, and so everything you're kind of talking about now, you talked about in that video. So but I like your setup and all of that good stuff. But I will have questions, I know, once I kind of go through everything, just to kind of get going. But yeah, and your wife was very, very helpful. So I appreciate Miss Tasha as well.
Yeah, yeah, she talks to everybody. Everybody she talks to, they become their bestie. See, I got
That's
a new
right.
bestie. Charles, I got a new bestie. I got a new bestie. Oh Lord. How many best friends do you have?
That's right.
So, but yeah. So yeah, but it's good. It's cool because it. So what that tells you, what it should tell you is the human element of us. We are a couple. It's a family thing. Definitely not a scam. I mean,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? You're talking to my wife, talking to me. You got my real number, right?
Hmm.
There's no malicious intent behind anything that I do, right?
Right.
I try to help, and everybody could attest to that. And you know, it's just pure uh goodness to try to help people. So and and everybody, you can feel the energy. It's good energy.
Hmm.
It's good energy.
Hmm.
So and if I cannot answer a question for you, I have two mentors. One he's a broker now for about 8 years, but he's been in trucking for over 38 years.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Nelson, he's in South Africa. He's in Africa right now trying to broker a deal,
Hmm.
pipeline between Africa and the US. And then my other mentor, who's been a broker for about 40 years, his name is Mr. Irwin Milborn. That's where I got my training from. So
Okay.
if I call him, he will pick up and he'll say, Charles, what's the question? That's the only reason. That's it. He said, what's the question now,
That's
Charles?
awesome. That's awesome.
Right. So I can pick it up and he'll say, okay, what's going on? What's up? So, and I said, well, here's the question. He said, you couldn't answer that? I'm like, no, I had to call. That's why I called you. So, but yeah, but it's rarely that happen. It's good to have those gentlemen in your pocket when
Hmm.
you need them, right? And then, matter of fact, I may invite Mr. Irwin on a call again. He'll come in sometimes and talk. And once he talks, oh my God, I can't, I might as well put myself on mute because people are going to be asking him questions.
Right. Okay.
That's the type of information you're going to get from Mr. Irwin because when he was brokering, he was doing 25 million a year
Ooh.
in brokering.
Ooh.
So,
And how many
but he had a
trucks or does he
right,
own?
he had a large contingent of matter of fact, let me look him up. True Duke. It's still True Duke. Let me look up True Duke.
Yeah. With
He,
that kind of dough, he should be retired.
he is retired. He's just doing it. He's
Okay.
bored now. He wants me to
Oh,
come in and help do some stuff. Is it True Duke? True with a space Duke? I think it's True Duke.
to be somewhere with his feet kicked up.
Yeah,
I'm
he
telling you.
stays.
Or on the golf course like most retirees.
Yeah.
Yeah, he stays with the yeah, here you are right here. True Duke Brokerage LLC, brokerage company called True Duke Express, located in Temperance, Virginia, which is the Eastern Shore where I live at. Mailing address and check. That's him right there. He has a very old MC and DOT. It's like when they first came out, they had these low numbers. MCs and DOTs are numbered in a certain way. So yeah, Mr. Irwin Milborn, they got his ANI information. Let me look up True Duke right here. Profile. Yeah, True Duke. I'm trying to see if I can find his website. Here it is, right? TrueDukeExpress.net. Bam. There you go. That's him right there.
Wow.
Capacity and loads from East Coast to West Coast, all points in between, just-in-time freight, peak demand service. So his website is tight, and he has massive integrations with McLeod's TMS system, which is the largest TMS system. When he was brokering, he was paying McLeod that software with his agents. They were paying him like 20,000 a month. That's how big the software is. But if you're making 25 million a year, 20,000 a month is pocket change.
It is.
He deals with bulk freight and temperature control. That's his specialty. Because
Okay.
remember he before brokering, he was a driver. So hopper bottoms, end dumps. So Sierra, um, Mr. Ellis met Mr. Irwin. We had lunch. And I was quiet because it was her and him talking.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was talking about hopper bottom, asking he was picking her brain about how much knowledge she had with end dumps and hopper bottoms, and he was impressed about what she knew. So he's like, yeah, whoever you work for, they're gonna be okay. So I said, okay. So I had to test her out, have Mr. Irwin fill her out. So yeah. So once he endorses a person, I think they're gonna be fine. So, but yeah, this is Mr. Irwin Midborn. That's his site. But yeah, I'll bring him. I'm gonna conversate with him again. We met about 2 months ago, and we had lunch. So we often meet every now and then. So, but anyway, but yeah, you're in a good place, Stephanie. I think you're going to be okay.
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, I feel the same. I do. And I appreciate Mr. Ellis sharing some of what he's kind of dealt with here. It's very important, and that's kind of what drew me to your course as well, is just the openness. And I was able to hear some of the other students, just talk about things they were doing and asking questions. And I think that's the greatest thing, is being able to learn from one another. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Love it. I love it. So the word I use is transparency.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yes, because and I'm glad and I'm grateful for the mercy and grace that students are willing to share their experience in a way to help other students.
Yeah.
Right? That is the best type, in my opinion, the best type and way of learning. Right? You
Mm-hmm.
get other people's experiences and you ask them questions, and then it helps them reinforce their experience by giving the other person the knowledge of it in such a way that they understand it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm grateful to Mr. Ellis. I'm grateful to everybody else. Go ahead, sir.
Oh yeah, and also one other thing I said, ah, the one thing you're gonna realize real quick is you can't do this by yourself. I learned
Yeah.
that quick, fast, and in a hurry. That's why I was like, hey, yeah,
Right.
because again, I mean, you can be good at a lot of things. You can be good at all things, but it's just the amount of time that you may have to commit to one thing versus the, it's going to take away from something. So
Right.
if you got the people there that are kind of like able to kind of like you can give certain tasks to,
Get a little more.
it'll keep the
Yeah.
wrinkles off your face. Just put it that way. And hell, and shit, even sometimes, even with still with a team, you can still get. I had a situation today. It was just like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
More so with the factoring company than anything. But the point being is like what you'll come to realize real quick is like, it's you're gonna need some other hands involved.
Okay.
Because in my head, I always think, oh, I can do it by myself. I can do it myself. Shit, I learned that lesson real quick. Don't ever
Right.
think like that.
Right. The
Right.
word I the word I use for that is if you try to do it by yourself, at some point you will be humbled. Okay.
Okay.
It's not a
Okay.
matter of if, it's a matter of when.
When.
When, yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Because you'll get to a place of being overwhelmed and you'll say, "Man, I thought this was easy." No, running a business by yourself is never easy.
Right.
And I
Right.
can speak from experiences because I'm running three. So
Okay.
it's never easy. So
Okay.
I'm glad my wife is here to help me. That's a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And to have someone in your corner that you trust and you can rely on and depend on, and the intent is always good with that person, and you can depend on. You can sleep at night not worrying about your company going under. That's the type of
Yeah.
person you want to have on your team.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mr. Ellis, how long have you been doing this? When did you first start with the
Well, I got
upfront?
certified as a broker back in 2013. I mean, I'm not 20, I'm 2023. But
Okay.
again, not knowing everything, and of course, then going through Charles's program, there were some things that I learned in my other course that were never even covered.
Right.
And, the good thing is you can always call and get these questions answered. So just trying to have it set up in order to where you get certain things done in order to operate was one of the
Mhm.
biggest things. And like I said, because otherwise you'll be all over the place
Okay.
right here. And it's like, wait, oh, I need that. Oh, wait, I could have done that a long time ago, but I didn't. Just again, I didn't. It's for example, the authority. I could have took care of that back in 2023 when I first got, certified before I even met Charles and started going
Right.
through his program. But I, just in my own head, I don't know, it just didn't register like that. No, ain't nothing gonna happen without this,
Right.
and then a few other things. So as I started, when I called him, and then I started, listening on these classes and stuff like that, and I was like, wait a minute. Then I took the course and was like, huh, all this stuff in the back office here
Right.
it's all set up for you to actually put together your company and have it fully operational.
Right.
So, and then again, experience is going to be one of those things that, teach you a few things here and there too. So, I mean, again, I don't have it figured out. Trust me
Right.
when I tell you that. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
But point is that, you learn things along the way that kind of get you like, it's like, stepping off into the shallow pool, one toe at a time. Then you sit down
Yeah.
on the stairs, get your legs a little wet, and then you finally step off the stairs, and you got the water up to your waist, and then you kind of slowly creep off into the water where it's about maybe up to your chest and your neck, and so forth and so on. So it's just one of the things you're gonna have to take them little gradual steps to in order to do. But what I also realized again, which I would have had it known back then, is that again, being able to actually have people that are willing to actually help out and go along for this ride with me was something that was key, because again, there's a lot of things that I was like, I'm just not capable of,
Right.
or at least not in a timely manner anyway.
Okay.
So because again, it's not enough hours in the day for you to
Mm-hmm.
be able to take on every single task that can hit you, because it's not like some of these things are expected. You get thrown curveballs here and there, and you got to be able to make that pivot, and you got to be able to
Okay.
make those adjustments, right then and there on the spot. You
Okay.
got other people that are kind of there in place for you, or just being
Mm-hmm.
able to reach out and call Charles, and maybe you can still, get the questions answered that you need, and you can kind of keep the ball moving.
Mm-hmm.
That helps as well.
Okay.
Especially, new coming in. I mean, again, like I said, I'm still new. Like I said, because my authority is not that old. My authority, like I said, I finally got everything squared away was just March is when it became official. So
Okay.
going on 8 months with that. And like I said, it could have been a lot. It could have been seasoned a lot more had I taken care of it back in 2023. But
Okay.
again, not necessarily knowing like how, because it was mentioned, but I don't think maybe either I wasn't paying attention or it wasn't emphasized heavily to the point where I realized, oh, I should have taken care of this way back then. So that's definitely number one. Make sure you get
Mhm.
your authority, so it can season, regardless
I
of it
got
having
you.
everything else in place. At least while you're putting everything else in place, your authority is still seasoning. If that time is going by, because again, what you're going to realize is too, shippers or carriers or a lot of people within that are a part of the business, they look at that and
Yeah.
they kind of reluctant. Sometimes they don't, they don't want to work with people that are
Are
what they
new.
consider to be new. Right.
Yeah.
For whatever
Yeah.
reason,
I
regardless of
understand.
the authority, but you could have a lot more experience than say the age of your authority. But again, sometimes you don't necessarily get that opportunity to even have that conversation for them to realize that, because all they
Okay.
looking at is just that deep.
I got you.
They see that when they pull it up and they go, "Oh, this thing is new." You could have 30 years experience, but your authority could be 5 months old.
I
They don't
got you.
even get the opportunity, unless you luck up, or just by chance, you happen to come across somebody that at least hears you and have the conversation with you and realize you got more experience than what your authority may indicate.
Okay.
So it's
I
it's
got
gonna
you.
go a bunch of different ways. Um, so yeah, just something to one of the many things that you'll see along the way.
Okay.
And then outline a list of priorities from most important to least important of your steps, what you need to take. Like Mr. Ellis, I'm sure he's done it, but start your company, right? Get your authority, right? Get your back
Mhm.
office stuff, infrastructure in place with your package, your different package you're going to need. As a broker, you got two people that you're primarily dealing with. You're dealing with the shippers and you're dealing with the motor carriers to transport the shipper's freight. So from a package perspective, you're going to need a broker shipper packet and a broker carrier packet. And what are the contents of those? So you want to, itemize what they are. And we talk about that here a lot.
Right.
And then after that, you want to put on your list like an outline, if you will, how to go after the shippers or how to go after the carriers, what to say, how to say it, how to pitch yourself. It's probably more challenging to go after the shippers because that's the starting point. That's where the money generates,
Right. Right.
where the money begins. Once you get a good paying shipper that tendered you a good paying rate that you quoted and you won the quote, the bid, then finding the carrier in that lane, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's less challenging than getting that shipper.
Okay.
So now you have to, with the carrier, you just have to be like, okay, I need to either give them a little bit more money and take a little bit from my profit margin in order to motivate them to take the load. Or if I have enough tender money in the money that the shipper gave me and the average spot market rate for that lane for carriers is such that I can have enough wiggle room, like that example we gave earlier,
Right, right,
um, then that side is a little bit, better. Now you got to deal with vetting the carrier, making sure they're reliable, they don't have no issues of leaving loads and having any dings on their with compliance or their driving record or anything like that. You want to make sure that you have reliable carriers, that you pay them well,
right.
them to pick up the load and move it correctly in order to satisfy that shipper to continue to give you more loads, because shippers are going to test you by giving you one or two loads here and there to see how much OTP and OTD that your drivers have. What is OTP and OTD? On time pickup, on time delivery.
Okay.
So shippers are going to see that and say, okay, your carrier did a good job. We found out from our shipping facility that the carriers were respectable. They backed up into the loading dock. Everything was good. They did everything properly, made sure everything was secure, signed all the paperwork correctly at the shipping location, on time OTP. And then OTD, on time delivery, they got to the receiver or the consignee.
Mm-hmm.
They were respectable with the person. They did everything that they were told, instructed. We unloaded them. They verified everything. They signed the manifest or the BOL at the receiving facility, and everything went according to plan. They were very respectable. Everything was good. This is a good carrier. Let's try to keep that carrier. Those are the type of carriers you want to have. Right
Mm-hmm. Okay.
now, there are going to be challenges because carriers come and go. You got to weed out the carriers. With experience, you will build up relationships with carriers, and you'll know which ones to keep and which ones to dissolve over time based off of the jobs you give them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's how you build your carrier network of owner operators if you don't already have assets yourself as a broker.
Okay.
So what I mean by assets yourself as a broker, if you were a trucking company and you became a broker, then you're bringing assets into your brokerage because you're bringing your trucks from your trucking side into the brokerage, right? So those are your assets. Assets are trucks, assets are trailers, right? They're considered assets. But if you don't have that, you're just a regular 3PL, third party logistics provider, then you would have to onboard or approve and vet carriers.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the vetting process is closing your eyes and praying that this carrier does what you tell them to do.
Right. Right. Yeah, and no, to be honest with you, part of the reason I even look back into this field and arena, because I've always thought about freight brokering as well as dispatching before, but I've got a few relatives and one very, very close friend that he's like, when are you gonna go ahead and get it? And I was like, I said, I'm gonna look back into it. And so I started looking, and when I came, because I saw you a couple of years ago, and I was like, I gotta take a look at it. But life happens. But anyway, so literally, I just found you again like 2 weeks ago, and I said, "This is the guy." I couldn't remember his name. Blah blah blah. So then I talked to your wife and everything. But I do it. There's a very close friend of ours that he's been doing, a carrier for some years, and he's legit. He's a good guy, because what you say. I'm telling you, it's like an echo. Even though he's a carrier, he's like the biggest issue with freight brokers is some of them are shisty. And I'm just
Right.
like, and he's like, you're not that kind of person. He said, I would trust you. I would trust you. He's been telling me that for some time. So I said, okay. He said, but you need to learn the business. I can't teach you to you. You need to find somebody to teach you. So here is Chris. I mean, here's Charles. So, I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, you're right.
So, and so both sides, so it works both ways. You want to have good brokers who exercise good ethics and morals, and you want
Right.
to have good carriers who do the same thing. Hey, LaDonna just came in.
Hey.
Um, so so if you got two parties that are like-minded individuals, then you're going to build a great relationship. One of the
Mm-hmm.
other things that I'm hoping that would happen one day is all of my broker students, we create like an internetwork of brokers
Yeah. Yeah.
helping each other, right?
Yeah.
And like a conglomerate, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
of
Hmm.
brokers saying, "Hey, I got a shipper who has a load. I don't have capacity right now," and they reach out to another broker. Hey, do you got any trucks in your area?
Right.
Let me send this shipper over to you. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Type stuff. Like
Yeah.
that. Like kind of like a co-brokering thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily co-brokering because that first broker, he may not have the shipper, or he may if he has it, then it'll be a co-brokering because he's already under contract with the shipper. So he will have to co-broker that shipment to another broker. But if he doesn't have the shipper, but the shipper is interested in still having it moved, that broker can say, hey man, I don't have capacity, but I know a broker in your area who does.
Right.
And let me
Okay.
send you his information. You guys have a talk and go from there. So it's networking.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so stuff like that. So that's my goal. I want to get to that point. Go ahead, Mr. Ellis. You wanted to say something?
Well, no, I was just saying, you mentioned co-broking agreements. Yeah, I got a couple of those too.
Oh, okay. So a co for those who don't know, Stephanie may not know, co-brokering is where one broker may have all the loads, another broker may have the trucks, the capacity, and you guys come together with some type of agreement. So I'll say I'll co-broker my loads to you, you find me trucks, and then whatever our profit margin we make off of this, we'll split it according to what we agree to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So let's say my profit margin on a load tender, I'm the one with the shipper with the loads. So I say, okay, the broker is tendering it to me for $3,000. Let's stick with that $3,000 example. And I'll do 20%. So
Right.
we're going to profit $600 off the load.
Okay.
And then whatever extra else we made. Like in that last example, we did an extra
I
$150 in
think
addition to that.
150. Yeah.
But so I'll say it like this: we'll split the percentage of the margin, whatever extra we make. I get to keep that as the broker who initiated it because I'm the one with the shipper. So if I get
Right.
the extra, so any other broker will agree to that. I say that's fine because it is your shipper.
Right.
But if I give you a carrier and we agree to the profit margin of splitting the $600 down the middle, 50-50, then you get 300, I get 300. You can keep that 150 that you're going to make extra off of that load. That's fine,
Right.
right? So that's
Yeah,
an example of co-brokering.
that's fair. Yeah.
And that's fair. That is fair. So does it happen a lot in the industry? I would say about 35% of the time right now in my knowledge. But most brokering is just one-to-one, just the broker and the shipper and their carrier, right? But my goal is to have an inter-network of students who are brokering in strategic locations. Like some of my students may be like for example, Mr. Ellis. He's in the Los Angeles area. He may have shippers in that area that outbound refrigerated freight. Refrigerated loads coming out of California pay very well going to the East Coast.
Okay.
So he may say, okay, I got some shippers out here. I don't have reefers out here. I don't have capacity because AB5 is keeping my truck drivers on lock and key. You know, that AB5, Assembly Bill 5 in California, they're trying to make owner operators into company drivers, right? So that's not fair. But if you have reefer carriers who are bringing loads into California, I can attach you with the shipper to get outbound loads leaving California because inbound carriers who does not have their authority in California are not bound by AB5 legislation. Only those who are living in California are, right? So that could be a strategy. You know what I'm saying? So I think about stuff like that, like futuristic type of things, right?
Okay.
But we have to get to the point where we build up students who have brokerages in strategic locations in the country. Like, for example, if someone who's in Texas, who has shippers in Texas or in LaDonna's area, Missouri, outbound Midwest, outbound going all points north, all points south, all points east, right? She can go with brokers who have trucks over in those locations. Or if you got some trucks coming into my area, I have shippers that can get you loads out of that area.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
stuff like that. That's going to happen at some point, but you have to establish the foundation right first. We have to have brokers who have shippers with outbound freight leaving those areas. And if you're a broker who have carriers coming into our area, well, let's link up and try to get loads coming out of there.
Right.
So it will get to a point at that point we wouldn't have to depend on the load boards. If we got shippers that's going into and out of certain areas and we got brokers in those areas, then what's the purpose of a load board? Wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
need it. That's my
Okay.
goal. Now, will it take some time? Of course it will, because we got to make sure all our brokers are established in those certain areas first. And that's the purpose of the training, right? But
It
once
is.
that happens, can you imagine? We have a network, an internet of brokers who have customers already in the area. We don't need load boards. We got
Exactly.
we got brokers. We said, let me reach out to Mr. Ellis. I'm bringing a carrier over to California. Hey, Mr. Ellis, you got something coming out of California? I got one of my carriers coming over there. Oh yeah, I got a ship over. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Or
Mm-hmm.
LaDonna, I'm coming to St. Louis, man. My carrier wants to head he wants to head eastbound or wants to head to Ohio to the Midwest. You got a shipper who has a lane coming out of there? Yeah, let me check with one of my shippers. And then boom, you know, stuff like that. So
Oh
That's
yeah.
so some companies do that. You have the TQLs, the CH Robinsons, the Coyotes that do a little bit of that in a small microscopic perspective. CH Robinsons, things like that. So, but I don't see no group of brokers networking to such a capacity like I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but that's my goal, and that's long term. I've already I've notated it, and I will be discussing it with broker students who are strategically in locations where I know have a high volume of inbound and outbound freight.
Okay.
Midwest, West Coast, Texas, Southeast, Northeast, strategic locations where freight is in freight and this is year round, seasonal freight, year round, inbound and outbound. There's never a slow period. I won't have a broker who's in a dead freight state, like over in Montana somewhere or way
Okay.
over there. They get out there and get stuck. No, we want to run, keep the lanes running. So,
Okay.
all right.
All right. Thank you
Mr.
so
Ellis, you
much.
got any input on that? What do you think of that idea?
No, yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, that's probably one of the better ideas because, again, just I think it makes life a little easier instead of you having to search and do all the search. You can just contact somebody directly to
Mm-hmm.
start and see. And you might, it's a hit or miss, but you just never know. At least that kind of gets you through to the point where it's like, okay, maybe that person has something, maybe not. Then you know what your next step is going to be. Then you got to jump on a load board or whatever the case may be. However, you're going about getting your freight moved.
And with
If you got to
with
find,
a inter-broker network, you don't have to worry about whether your broker being a year old or whatever, worrying about being
yeah,
we all know each other because we went through the same training, right?
Mm-hmm.
yep,
So,
Mm-hmm.
and so you got to worry about that. The only thing we would have to worry about is making sure that the broker who's bringing the carrier is a quality carrier. That's the one risk that I think is going to be a potential risk because we got to make sure that the carriers we're bringing into the internetwork of brokers
Mm-hmm.
is a quality carrier. So I would say my idea would be, well, let's make sure that they've done a few loads satisfactorily to the broker who's running that carrier before that carrier is brought into the internetwork. That way we ain't got to worry about those red flags.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make sure that carrier has proven themselves in the eyes of the broker and as well as in the eyes of the internetwork, right? So because there should be like a board of directors of the internetwork that kind of oversees that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Brokers who are strategically placed in certain areas, and I'm sure LaDonna and Mr. Ellis is probably going to be on that board at some point because over time, in a year or two, they're going to be moved. They're going to be moved plenty of loads and getting all the experience possible to say, "Hey, Charles going to come to them and say, hey, I think I want you on the board. I think I want you on the board. I think you're strategic. You're in California. You're in the Midwest. I think you control this area." So, and then you're in
and
Florida, Stephanie, right?
Yes, I am. I'm in St. Augustine, right outside of Jacksonville.
Oh, so you're in the northeastern tip.
Uh-huh. I am.
Okay, so you're not too far in because Florida has a reputation of
I know.
coming
Deadhead.
coming into but not getting out of
mhm,
it.
Yeah.
Like the Roach
yeah,
Motel. You check in, but you can't check out, right?
can't
Oh
check out
yeah.
yet. Yeah.
I've
So
heard of
you
it.
you just right. She just south of Georgia, so she in her sweet spot.
Yeah.
Right. She's
Yeah.
over there by the ports, the JAX,
Yep. That's right.
the terminals and the ports, and
Mm-hmm.
then she's south of, like you said, Georgia. There's a distribution hub over there in Tifton, Georgia.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I know where
So
Tifton is.
yeah, so there's a bunch of DCs over there. How do I know? I've been there.
Okay.
So yeah, so you can strategically look at that as well. So I mean, the idea is hovering in my head. It's coming into fruition. I
Mm-hmm.
just gotta nurture it, and making sure everybody else is on board with it. So yeah. You wanted to say something, Mr. Ellis? You're unmuted.
Oh no, I was unmuted from the last time, but
Okay.
um,
LaDonna, you okay?
I- but I do have a question for
Okay.
Stephanie. in terms of like what her experience is like what kind of background does she have? Is she like she come from a sales background? Because that helps. Because
Yeah, I
again,
do. I do.
okay,
I've actually, good Lord, I've sold cars. I actually am licensed in insurance as well. So
okay.
I've done a lot
Oh,
of
so then
stuff.
you can sell anything to anybody then, because selling a car and selling insurance is probably the two hardest things to sell to people.
Yeah, but it's I think with this piece of it, it's because I've got, family and my uncle. I just got so many family members that were truck drivers. And so it
Oh, okay.
actually is kind of near and dear to my heart because of that. And
Right.
they love it. They've always loved it. But they have had the challenges. And I always have heard, about the freight broker, and I'm just like, well, what is it with the freight? And so I just started looking more into it a couple of years ago and just kind of had some stuff happen as far as why I didn't continue. But I think it was just a blessing from the Lord because I was able to come back and find Mr. Monday. So I'm happy about that. Yeah.
Okay, good. So you're at an advantage then. You have or multiple advantages because you have family members who are in the industry, and
hmm
then you come from a sales, customer service kind of background where you have experience. So you talking to shippers like on cold calls and things like that shouldn't be too much of a problem for you then.
No, I don't mind going to the place. If I can find out who the person is, I'm going to the location. If it's in Georgia or wherever, I'll go.
Yeah, so you can like Google Map. You can Google like, for example, let's
hmm
up something real quick and show. Let's see, Google. So we can say either shippers or manufacturers. Matter of fact, let's go to another one. Let's use some AI technology, Chat GPT,
Okay.
and say shippers or manufacturers near the Jacksonville, Florida area. Jacksonville, right?
Jacksonville, Florida.
So Jacksonville, yeah, okay. And I'll say list of shippers. Please provide. Let me see. Please provide a list of shippers or manufacturers. So because with AI technology and particularly Chat GPT, you have other ones, Claude and Perplexity and all these other AI technologies, but you have to be in your search window, you have to be as specific as possible, right? To get
Right.
to get the best result. If you're broad, you're going to get a broad answer. So I hit that, and now they're searching the web, manufacturers in Jacksonville, Florida, and they're gonna boom, 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 boom. Here we go. So here are a handful of shippers and manufacturers around the Jacksonville area you might consider. If you tell me your specific industry, which we won't, unless you have a certain niche
hmm
or shipping need, like LTL full truckload, so they're even telling you to get more specific. I can pull a deeper list, so that's good. Okay,
Okay.
now we got a list right here, and we can phrase that question a little bit different. Please provide a list of shippers and manufacturing with truckloads in the electronics industry or in the whatever industry you decide your niche is, right?
Okay.
You can get very specific. So if you have but right now, manufacturers, MFG Merch, clothing line, you're probably familiar with this, Flora Kim Corporation, and you probably heard of these companies, Mac
I have
Paper,
a few of them. Yeah.
Mac Papers, and their shipping logistics companies, DT Freight, yeah, you probably heard of them. Navis Pack and Ship, I'm familiar with them. They're up here. Specialty freight carriers. So you got carriers, and then it gives you a map of certain locations.
Right.
So yeah, and it says if you like, I can compile a more extensive list of 10 to 20 manufacturers plus 10 to 20 carrier shippers in the Jacksonville area with full contact information,
There you go.
fees, and approximate capabilities. Would you like for me to do that? Yeah. So
There. Yeah.
so in the industry, so you leverage the technology. Start to
hmm
leverage the technology to your advantage. Go
Oh
ahead,
yeah.
man. Alex.
Yeah, no, that was just funny you saying you're doing this right here because that's one of the things that the broker carrier summit that I was at back in what was that when did I go? When was that summit?
It was like April or something like that. Was you?
Yeah, it was in April. Yeah, it was in April. One of all the different panels they had going on, one of the things that was mentioned was about just being able to Google like your city to find shippers.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another one that's in the back office. If you don't like ChatGPT, just go to the back office, go to tools and resources. One of the more popular ones is the National Chamber of Commerce, right? So I'll scroll down into the area. We have these two, these locate Webster's Online, Leonard's, all these other broker resources. But the one right here, the popular one, National Chamber of Commerce Directory. So I click that. And I think Jacksonville, Florida should be in the popular cities right up in here. But if not, we can just go to Florida and then go to Jacksonville's website. So we got Tampa right here, but I don't know if Jacksonville. So let's go down to the state of Florida. Okay. State of Florida.
Mm-hmm. I see it.
Okay, it's yeah. I'm gonna say it should be alphabetized. I can't remember my alphabet, but okay. So there, and then now we look at the city. We could actually type it in the search bar too, but I just went to the state. And Jacksonville Chamber of Commerce should pop up at some point. JAX right here, JAX Chamber. JAX is the
Yep, that's
short
the
for Jacksonville.
acronym or whatever they call it
Yep,
for.
Jacksonville. Yeah, it's for yeah, because I we do intermodal down that area from Norfolk. So
Okay.
so we go there and then we go to the website. So the JAX website. And usually when you go to a website, you want to look at the member directory and then see who that is, and then go into the actual industry that relates to where you're trying to go, which is shipping, manufacturing, things like that, right? So now some websites may not have, let's go, grow your business, member, meet the members. So they should have a members directory, a board of directors, jobs, so chamber staff, board of directors, about the chamber. I want to see if they have a members in the, here you go, right here, member directory. Okay, so under expand your network, member directory.
Mm-hmm.
You hit the member directory, and now you go into the industry that you're looking for shippers in. So we're in, let's scroll down to the choices. All these industries, well, more like shipping, manufacturing, but they got all these other industries right here. So, but let me see if they got manufacturing in here somewhere. If we,
Yeah, you passed it. If you go back up on that right column,
oh, it's okay on the right
it
column there.
said I think they got it in alphabetical order. That's
It
what it is.
is. It is. Yeah, you're right.
And I saw manufacturers because you passed it
Yep, right
right
there.
there.
Manufacturers, and they may have shippers in here too. Let's go down to the S and see if they got shippers in here or
Okay.
transportation, if that for that matter.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So we got telecommunication. So they don't have
That's
transportation.
transportation.
So you
Okay.
can go either transportation. I'm gonna right click that, open another tab, and I'm gonna go back up and do the manufacturer. So I have two separate tabs to look at. Manufacturers. I'm gonna hit manufacturers on this tab, and then the other tab is transportation. So transportation. So these could be the transportation companies. So you can find your carriers at the same time finding your shippers.
Okay.
Right. So these are carriers, right?
Mm-hmm.
The transportation piece. On the manufacturer, let's go to the manufacturers tab right here. And now we got Philip Morris. Wow, they down there too. Okay, Philip Morris everywhere. That's a cigarette tobacco company.
Yeah.
Philip Morris. So we got that. So you got their website. You can visit their website, some contact information. Philip Morris, the new IEM, whoever, I don't know, I have looked it up. So platinum member. Johnson and Johnson, I guess they have a Florida division because they're all over the country. That's a Johnson and Johnson makes all types of products. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
just ask P. Diddy with the baby oil.
Okay.
Uh, I'm sorry, I'm tripping. But anyway, um, Infra Pipe Solutions. So that's so as we look at each one, let's determine. So Philip Morris, that's probably dry van freight, freight of all kinds. EIM, we would have to find out what they are. Visit their website. You click that link. Johnson and Johnson, see their logo. It's probably general freight. So you figure dry van. Infra Pipe Solutions, piping and stuff, you figure flatbed, right? So you're kind of guessing based off of the company name and the equipment or the type of commodity that they may have, you determine the type of equipment type that they can get on or haul on, right?
Okay.
You're educating yourself as you go. Jasper engines and transmissions, that could either be a flatbed or a dry van, right? Stellar Energy, probably satellites and things like that. That could be either a dry van or a flatbed. If it's satellite dishes and things like that, it's going to be open top, so it's a flatbed. Um, all metals fabrication, AMF, probably flatbed. Anything metals and lumber, more than likely flatbed. It's rare you're going to put metals and lumber in a dry van, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, because you want to be able to grab it from both sides of the trailer. So Zimmer Biomet, probably drive in. So you kind of scroll through this, and while you're looking for shippers, you can call them, and they're in your area, so you can drive all around town and visit these people.
Okay.
In this case, talk to Peter Tuggle, set up an appointment. Hey, who's in charge of your transportation piece? Who does your logistics? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
can you connect me to that person and then set up a meeting with them and go up there and sell yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. So there's a bunch of them. E-Style Corp, all of them. Look at Green Technologies, American Cold Air, and the list goes on and on and on. Let's say you get about, of all these 20 or so shippers, you get about 5 good ones.
Okay.
You set, because now you just got to maintain those 5 shippers by
Those five.
providing trucks, depending on the frequency of shipments they give you. Let's say each shipper gives you 5 loads a week, 5 truckloads a week to move all points going everywhere, all points westbound, northbound. You're in Jacksonville, so you can't say south. Well, I guess you can say southbound down the
Yeah,
highway.
Miami.
Yeah. So, so
Tampa.
they give you lanes going in all the directions, all to the right locations. And so you can strategically plan how you want to run those lanes for that shippers using approved motor carrier. So now you're getting into freight brokering, which is arranging for the transportation. So the logistics piece brought you to transportation. Logistics is planning and procuring and getting things ready. The last piece in logistics is the transportation piece, getting that finished goods to the customer. And that's where you come in as a broker. You're
Okay.
in charge of arranging for the transportation piece, and everything falls under the umbrella of the supply chain, right? The logistics part of the supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
So there you have it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that piece of knowledge. I appreciate it.
And this is in our portal.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't gotten to it yet because I did. I just literally started yesterday on the portal. So, but I will be getting there by Sunday. I'll be done hopefully
Oh
with the
yeah,
portal
just so
and this.
as you, yeah, just take your time. You can,
Mm-hmm.
of course, even after 90 days, if you want to continue, there's a monthly subscription to continue. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
there's a
I
plethora
will
of
be on it.
information in here, resources, and you can reference it all the time. And it's, we try to keep everything updated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you call these manufacturers and these transportation pieces and you ask for that person may not work for the company anymore. So they may not have updated their website on their end, but you just get the right person when you call them.
Okay.
Hey, who's in charge of your logistics or your transportation piece? Who's in charge of making sure the freight gets moved from your location to your customer's location?
Mm-hmm.
Can I speak to that person? Because I'm someone who arranges for that. I'm a broker, and I will can provide you a good service for at a good rate
Mm-hmm.
if given the opportunity. You just sell yourself
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and then go from there. And you're talking to another person, another human being. They got issues with family and all that stuff they deal with. They may have a family. So, don't be overwhelmed because they work for this large company. They're just a regular person like you are.
Mm-hmm.
Put their
Mm-hmm.
pants on one leg at a time, like
At a
you.
time.
And once you talk to them, you're going to realize that all this preconceived notions of this regal figure is it goes out the window once you start talking to a person. They're,
Right.
they're not God, they're a normal person. They just,
That's
hey,
true.
I'm just responsible for this large overhead of tasks that I have to do as a logistics person. But I'm a regular person. So if you break the ice with them, usually sports and weather breaks the ice. Keep religion and politics out the way because that will probably cause some issues, right? But sports and weather breaks the ice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, I hear it's sunny down there, man. Where's the last hurricane? Oh man, we've had it, you know,
I know. What's the weather like where you at? Da,
yeah.
da, da,
Or
da.
yeah. Or man, I hear your team is bombs, man. The Jacksonville Jaguars. When they gonna start winning? They use, oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
what up, man? Who your team? And you start talking, yeah. Well, I'm
Hmm.
Detroit Lions. I'm from Detroit. I'm Detroit Lions, man. Oh, okay, you good, yeah. Oh man, by the way, how can I help you, man? Oh yeah, well, I was gonna talk to you, man, but since you're a Jacksonville fan, I don't think I want to deal with you. But then you start talking, so you just break
Okay.
it. So it's simple stuff, man. It's just pitch anything, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's, it's all in the method of how it's done.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
So prior to getting to this stage of even trying to get a shipper, it would be best to have your stuff in order first. Your
Right.
company set up, your brokerage, all your documents you need. Because let's say you spoke to me and I say, yeah, man, send me your information, but you don't have a packet prepared, right? So
Right.
you gotta have all their stuff ready.
Right.
So before even, does that make sense? Having before talking to these people, have everything in order first?
Oh yeah, no. And even when Mr. Ellis said that, when he was saying, that he didn't have certain things in place and what have you. And so that's the thing that I'm looking at. I'm like, okay, so I got to make sure I got this, in order before I even contact anybody because you're right. If they say, well, I need your surety bond or I need your insurance, you got to have all of that stuff in your packet and you got it on the training. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Very much appreciated.
yeah, you definitely gotta have that. And then because selling yourself should be, if you are used to selling yourself and you come from a sales and customer service background, then that won't be the challenge. The challenge will be having all of your stuff prepared so when you do get that opportunity. So there's an expression, there's a saying that um, success is where preparation and opportunity meet,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you got to be prepared so when the opportunity come, you are successful.
Right.
So so the prepared part is getting all your stuff in order, your company, your back office paperwork, your documents and all that stuff, and your knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
When the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity presents itself, a potential shipper, you put the two together and your chances of success increases as opposed to decreasing because you wasn't prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where I come in as an instructor to provide that preparation piece to assist you with that.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
I appreciate you. I
Thank you very
appreciate
much. I
it. Okay.
appreciate that. I'll let my wife know that we are still appreciated.
Just tell her, say Stephanie was on tonight. Just let her know because she did. She's like, if you can get on, I said, I'm gonna get on. My son's got a game tonight, so I'm gonna get off so I can ride up here.
Well,
But yeah.
she always asks me when new students enroll, like at least a day or two after enrollment, she'll say, she'll say, well, did this person come on tonight? Let me know. I want to call them and follow up to see why they didn't come on, and or did this person come on or that person come on? So yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no. It's awesome.
Yeah, she keeps me grounded. So yeah. Yeah. So okay, any final questions? We won't keep you guys too long.
Oh no, no. This has been great. This has been great. I'm grateful and this has been really good. And thank you, Mr. Ellis, again, and for LaDonna and for coming on and everything. I appreciate you sharing. So I'm looking forward. Hopefully for the next one next month, I may have a little more to tell you. So
Okay. And
yeah.
anytime prior to that, if you
Uh-huh.
have a question, you don't have to wait to the Zoom meeting.
Okay.
The question, just text me, email me, call my wife. You got the number now to her because she'll transpose it to me after she gets off the phone with you.
Okay.
Because I know with women, you guys can chat all day, so y'all talk about
Yes,
other.
we can. We
Yeah.
do.
But yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, just give me the question and I usually answer texts and emails quicker than I do phone calls because I'm so busy with different calls. I'm talking to different people all the time. So but I make sure I end my day by clearing my emails and my text messages up before I go to
Okay.
sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again. I'm gonna jump off here so I can go to this football game. But it has been a pleasure, and I'll be talking with you all pretty soon. Probably next week sometime once I kind of go through and write my questions down.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Looking forward to the next time.
Okay. Take care. You guys have a great weekend.
All right, you too.
All right.
All right. Mr. Ellis and LaDonna, you guys are good? Any questions? Okay. All right. So I'll have the next month Zoom schedule up over the weekend. And I'm glad, Mr. Ellis, you will get able to give Stephanie some perspective from your point of view as a broker and your experiences coming in. That's very helpful because it puts everybody onto the learning curve and what to expect and what to look for. You know,
Absolutely.
the
I'm
different.
sure she'll have more questions.
Yeah. Because you've come across hurdles that you've already jumped over and you continuously moving forward. So hurdle number one, hurdle number two, we get to that hurdle, we say, okay, what's the challenge here? Let's get past it. And then boom, what's the next challenge? So on and so forth. It's a progression as a freight broker. As you continue to learn how to arrange for transportation, it's a progression. So it's going to take time. And you cannot do it by yourself. For those who are going to be listening, I may put this on the YouTube channel. Those who are listening in, you if you try to do it by yourself, I mean, it's possible, but it's an uphill battle for you.
I mean, it's more than an uphill battle. It's an uphill battle with with an avalanche. Trying to
On the
walk,
way down.
trying to walk uphill through an avalanche. It's just, and it's not because it's difficult. Difficult is just sometimes it's just too many things to try to take on by yourself.
Correct.
Period. Point blank. I mean,
Right.
and
So,
I'm not
and a
say that it's
person who will be
easy.
listening, a person who will be listening to that, well, what are those things you're trying to take on by yourself? Well, you'll never know what they are until they come to you.
Until they come to you. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, but if you have an outline or a list of priorities that you want to do as a freight broker, what's the first, what's the second, what's the third, right? Well, getting your company set up, getting your authority, getting your back office infrastructure set up, learning how to go after the shippers and the carriers, making sure that you have information that you need when you do get one to send them to get under contract, and then understanding how to move the load and tender freight. So again, we provide that in this training from a basics perspective, step by step by step. And I kind of over explain things, so I want to make sure that everybody understands. So that's my job as an instructor. So if you are listening on that and you know someone or yourself who's interested in that process, join our network, right? So, or I should say, join our family at this point. So, but yeah, and we go from there. So, all right, guys. Well, for those of you, I guess I'll see both of you guys in the class tomorrow for to end the week for our training in the dispatch course. So, okay. All right, guys, enjoy your Friday, and I will see you
All
guys
right.
tomorrow at noon Eastern time. Okay. All right, guys, have a good one.